Folks, g'day, kia ora. It is our great pleasure to welcome you to AWS Summit Studios, where we are kicking off our AWS Summit Australia and New Zealand learning experience. We have a great day ahead with lots to get excited about. My name is Dean Samuels, and I'm a Chief Technologist here at AWS. As a part of my introduction, I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. I'm excited to be joined here today by my colleague and co-host, Tiffany Bloomquist.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for the warm welcome, Dean. It's my first time in the host chair, so it's nice to be working with you over the next few days. As Dean said, my name is Tiffany Bloomquist, and I'm the AWS New Zealand Country Manager for Commercial Sales. To start, I want to say kia ora to our whanau in Aotearoa, and begin with something we do in New Zealand to open any auspicious events. We use a karakia, or invocation, to honor our shared history and the historical caretakers of our lands. Te tawa mai I runga, te tawa mai I raro, te tawa mai I roto, te tawa mai I waho. Ki tau e te maru tū, te mari ora, ke te katoa. Humie, huie, takie. Which basically means that we're all unified in our intention to have an energizing event together today. Now, with those intentions aligned, it's important to recognize the size of the opportunity we're seeing in New Zealand and the corresponding level of investment that AWS plans to make in this region. In addition to the upcoming Melbourne region launch in October, we announced a $7.5 billion infrastructure investment coming to build an AWS region in Auckland to support our customers' innovation and growth. This investment was just approved by the Overseas Investment Office in the New Zealand government, and this is all on top of the local zones we announced in February that we have coming to Auckland, Perth, and Brisbane. So exciting times to be an AWS customer, and there's so much more we have to share. With that, we'd like to welcome you to the first show in our Studio Show series. We'll be running this throughout the next 2 days, and all of it is broadcast live from the AWS Summit Studios here in Sydney. Now, this is only my third summit, but many of you have been attending these for years. We'd love to hear from you, our audience. Tell us, how many AWS summits have you been to? While we're waiting for the poll results, Dean, it's nice to be sharing a desk with you again. We've been lucky to actually work together side by side when we were in the Singapore office. We've had a chance to get to know you personally, but do you actually want to tell our audience a bit more about yourself and your tenure with AWS?
Yes, absolutely, Tiffany. I'm so happy to actually get to work with you again. I actually started with AWS in Sydney back in 2012, so it has actually been a really exciting decade that I've been on a journey with AWS. What you may not know is that I do have a little bit more history with AWS prior to our first meeting. Whilst I'm continuing to actually work out of the Singapore office, I actually started with AWS Sydney back in 2012. So really exciting over this time and with this journey. Now, I must really give a kudos to our ANZ marketing team for allowing me the opportunity to rejoin the AWS Summit this year. Because whilst the AWS ANZ Summit has continued to evolve, I have been on somewhat of a bit of a hiatus. So it's actually really good to be rejoining the team here in Sydney. So I remember being involved with Australia and New Zealand summits when they first started about 8 years ago. I was actually involved in some of the earlier breakout sessions, and one of the highlights is really being able to deliver a lot of the advanced breakout sessions, and one that particularly sticks out in mind is when I was presenting the AWS Black Belt tips on AWS infrastructure. But just like the AWS, but just like the AWS platform has actually evolved over the years, and in some ways made my tips a bit obsolete, which is actually great. The AWS Summit itself has also evolved where we are continuing to use our attendee feedback to really enhance the customer experience. You know, more tech deep dives, more attendee interaction, and more customer stories. But enough about me, let's hear from our audience. I see that about 63% of people watching are actually attending for the first time today. So welcome, that is awesome to see. Now, for those of you who are attending for the first time, we'd love to give you an idea of what to expect over the next 2 days. everyone watching it from home, from the office, or from an AWS Summit watch party today, if you have a question, an idea you want to share, or if you actually just want to say hello, we are monitoring the chat throughout each and every one of our studio shows. So please get in touch, and rest assured, if we don't get back to you today, we'll follow up by email after the event has closed. So Tiffany, what really stands out to you as we look at the agenda of what's ahead today?
Well, I'm particularly excited for the keynote coming up in less than 15 minutes. Today's keynote is opened by my manager, Rianne van Veldhuizen, Managing Director, Australia, New Zealand. She'll be joined by Rahul Pathak, Vice President, Analytics at AWS, who will share some global perspectives and news and exciting innovations that make AWS an outstanding place to run applications, while also making better, faster, and more sustainable decisions with data.
Wow, that sounds really great. We've got more than 90 breakout sessions over the next 2 days, curated for technical and business personas. And one thing I'm really excited about this year is that we've taken on feedback from previous attendees, and folks will actually now have the opportunity to attend a live Q&A with the breakout session speakers after each session takes place, or stick around to hear them answer other people's burning questions.
Speaking of burning questions, we actually have one coming through for us, Dean. Do you want to take that one while I actually hand over to get to talk to Simon?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. And so why not start the show with a question about machine learning? And it's just a question really about how to get started with machine learning. What session should I attend? Well, to find out how AWS puts machine learning and reinforcement learning into the hands of every developer, I highly recommend the AWS AWS Deep Racer session, as well as actually hearing from some of our AWS machine learning heroes. So actually make sure you attend those. And so whilst I love that interaction from the community, and speaking about the AWS community, you can actually head to our AWS community zone on the platform to find out and engage with AWS heroes. Now, though, I'd like to switch over to Tiffany, who has a special guest in the room for us.
All right. Well, thanks, Dean. I mentioned the keynote earlier, which is always exciting because we get to hear the latest announcements directly from our customers. We're lucky to get a little sneak peek for our Day 2 keynote host, Chief Technologist, ANZ and Oceania, for our public sector business, Simon Alicia. Welcome, Simon. What do you think of my lovely living room this morning?
Hi, Tiffany. So fancy. Thanks for having me here. I'm just so excited to be back here and be your first guest and be back with our customers, both in person and online as well.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here and warming this space up for us. In your role as Chief Technologist, you work with customers to help them transform and innovate every single day. I know you're a special guest in the keynote, and you're also hosting tomorrow's keynote. So I'd love to have a little inside scoop. What do you have? No, you gotta give us some of the secrets. Come on, share some stuff to get the team excited.
Yeah, so in my keynote, it'll be a whirlwind tour of technological innovations, of mental models that you can use every day. Plus, we're also excited to hear from our customer speakers from University of Technology Sydney, Swoop Aero, SEEK, and the Australian Institute of Marine Science. To top it off, I've been hard at work building not one, not two, but 6 demos.
6 demos. Is that a record?
I believe so, but who's counting?
That's
it's not a race.
It's a little terrifying, though. You know, 1 demo is usually raising the bar for most technologists, so 6. Fantastic to see that wide variety of things we're going to be demonstrating for our customers. Clearly, you don't want to miss this one. Simon, before you go, they told me that you've attended every single summit in ANZ.
Every single one.
But there's 63% of people that are attending this summit for the very first time.
Wow.
Any tips, tricks, thoughts for them on how to make the most of this experience?
Look, I think with so much going on, it's important to spend your time wisely. Take a moment to browse the sessions so that you can build the best agenda for you. You can add your sessions to the agenda on the platform and then add them into your normal calendar. There's heaps there. We've organised sessions into tracks, so you can find the right session, or if you prefer, you can just filter by topic or by level or day. And if you want some help from us with some recommendations, just go to the help chat section in the platform and ask one of our AWS experts who are ready and waiting for your questions. Bring a growth mindset and have fun. And of course, don't forget to come back tomorrow for my keynote. There will be robots, there will be drones.
Yay, I won't miss it. You said robots and drones. That's going to draw a whole crowd. I'm sure our audience is now even more excited to attend as well. Now we're going to be crossing live to the AWS Summit Studio floor, where Dean is chatting with Solution Architect Manager Troy Kirkland about the live demos we'll be seeing later today and tomorrow. Over to you, Dean.
Thanks, Tiffany. Coming up later today and tomorrow, we actually have live demos, and I'm here with Solution Architect Manager Troy Kirkland. So Troy, what can we actually expect from the live demos this year?
Well, Dean, as an architect, my greatest reward is seeing the results of what I've built being used, especially in ways that enrich the customer experience. The AWS Sydney Summit has a proud tradition of giving physical representations of how customers are using or can use the AWS cloud to deliver both technical and business outcomes. So we've layered the demos to show you the customer experience as well as the depth of the AWS services that help power business outcomes through the use of technology in a way you can recreate as a whole or in parts.
So Troy, I can actually see there are about 4 demos here. Yep. So give us a bit of a background. How did you actually choose these 4 themes?
Yeah, it was tough. So we've based the 4 demos on areas where technology is a key factor in making significant transformation. The 4 themes are built around sustainability, the environment, operations, and the customer experience. Each has an opportunity built in for you to leverage what we've built in Amazon and add your own magic. So for example, in the sustainability demo, Luke will share how AWS continues to provide options that can help you reduce your carbon footprint. Where you take those options are available to you. So you can choose how far you want to take your architecture to leverage that innovation and make a difference in the impact you make on the world we operate in. And now, we know there's often a perception that doing the right thing can be expensive, but what I love about this demo is it shows how it could be possible to make an environmental difference and also reduce your costs. You'll see that taking your first step you'll see what taking your first step looks like onto AWS, and Luke will share the potential reduction in carbon footprint, which is mind-blowing from just doing that. He'll then take you through some additional steps to take that even better.
Sure, so that's sustainability.
Yep.
And the findings of actually a recent 451 research report reveal that the moving to enterprise and public sector IT workloads from on-premises data centers to the cloud can actually reduce energy consumption and associated carbon emissions by nearly 80%.
Yep.
Now, this is 5 times more energy efficient than your typical on-premises Asia-Pacific data center. We actually look forward to hearing more about this from Luke during his demo. So maybe tell us about the second demo on environment.
Yep. So one of the reasons we chose the environment demo was just to the sheer scale of farming in Australia. The huge physical differences involved present some unusual challenges, including making some critical tasks either time-consuming or expensive. So James will take you through how he's used AWS services on his family farm to make a real difference. The technology he'll show you not only has the potential to help in farming, but in other areas where managing assets spread over a large area is complex. The third demo theme is operations, and it connects really nicely with the environment demo and how we use AWS technology in ways that may surprise you.
Come on, Troy, surprise us.
All right, doing so. So before clouds, solving sensor or manufacturing challenges, it involved a lot of closed-loop solutions and devices and sensors that would sit beside your operational systems. What Lockie and the team are going to show you is how to build richer systems that integrate more deeply into those existing environments, or how you can enable your environments to connect to these systems using our services.
So customers are really excited to see the AWS cloud actually becoming more ubiquitous.
Yep.
And the possibility of it helping to solve some of their core problems. Can you tell us about the fourth and final demo?
Yeah, so the final demo is the customer experience. And what Josh is going to take you through is the customer retail experience. And so why that's important is that the expectations of your customer are not only shaped by what you do, but by the experiences you have. So how I work with apps on my phone, my banking, how I access or buy sporting tickets, they all influence what I expect from you as a business. And I expect that as a minimum. So our demo takes that experience, stitches it together as a single journey in a way that allows you as a builder to take the parts and either recreate as a whole or put parts of those into your architectures. And what I'm really excited about in general is the passion the team has had in building these. It's one of the reasons I love being at AWS is you get to have a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah, and so how do you see people actually using the demo content?
Yep. So for each of the demos, we've either started with AWS solutions that you can download, or we're contributing to those solutions. We wanted to give universal access to what we've built, and so that material is available post-summit. If you have an outcome from that that you need to deliver as a whole, then it's awesome. Download it, test it in your environment, you're good to go. Or you can pull apart the pieces, and you might have a particular thing that you want to solve using those parts. So I encourage you to take the content, pull it apart, and build. Because to me, a builder is someone who can piece together the small pieces to make a really beautiful puzzle. And so only be bounded by your imagination. So to that extent, we've built these as what we call nuggets of innovation. And so I'm confident that there's at least one nugget here that each person can take away and build something wonderful with.
So can you tell us what's coming up and when, Troy?
Yep, so we've got the future of sustainability and the environment today, and we've got the future of operations and customer experience tomorrow.
So thanks very much, Troy. That's really a perfect entree into the day one keynote. We'll see you all back in our living room after the keynote for a conversation about sustainability and the AWS Data Labs.